Okay, on November the 2nd, 1920, the radio station KDKA, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, will be the first commercial radio broadcast in the United States. Now, it's not the first radio broadcast, but the first commercial radio broadcast, meaning a radio station for profit, will now broadcast. And you're going to hear the election results on November the 2nd, 1920, in the election between Harding and Cox. So it's a very short clip. Let's listen in.
This is KDKA of the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We shall now broadcast the election returns. We are receiving these returns by special arrangement with the Pittsburgh Post and Sun. We'd appreciate it if anyone hearing this broadcast would communicate with us, as we are very anxious to know how far the broadcast is reaching and how it is being received.
Okay, that was from KDK in Pittsburgh. The year is 1920. So now we're going to jump ahead to the year 1927. And a daredevil by the name of Shipwreck Kelly is supposedly going to pull a stunt for everybody to see, that he's going to sit on a flagpole for 13 hours and 13 minutes.
27, and high in rain-swept Manhattan skies, famed flagpole sitter has vowed he'll hold his perch for as many hours as it took Lindbergh to fly across Atlantic. But one daring night gets rough with a motion storm. After 13 hours, 13 minutes aloft, he's down, a wiser and certainly wetter flagpole sitting king. 29th.
Okay, you can, if you want, you can believe that he sat up on that pole for 13 hours and 13 minutes. Or if you want, you can believe trick photography was used and perhaps a dummy was lifted up there. And it's certainly very suspicious, the whole idea of 13 hours and 13 minutes, which the 13 is representative of the 13 original bloodlines that got control of most of the world. And then if you add 13 and 13 gives you 26, which are your two sixes, which again would be a symbol of the Antichrist, 666. And you can do a lot there with the numbers if you like, or you can just simply believe it's a bunch of nonsense. He was called Shipwreck Kelly because he put another hoax on top of this hoax. Supposedly he was a survivor of the shipwreck of the Titanic, which that's a whole nother video and everything, to talk a little bit about that sometime in the future. But anyhow, in the 1920s, they are going to begin to discover the power of the airwaves. Okay? And this is going to take you out now to Los Angeles. And we're looking at the Angeles Temple that is still out there in Los Angeles. And in the year 1924, the Foursquare Church, under the dominance of the figure called Aimee Semple McPherson, they will get a radio license and have radio towers right smack on top of their church structure. Now that's a whole nother video too about Aimee Semple McPherson. I think I got that all figured out. But anyhow, radio is coming into play, because we're looking at out here in Los Angeles in the year 1924. And we are looking at Shipwreck Kelly in Manhattan, 1927. But he actually started his antics in 1924, sitting on top of flagpoles. And remember, the first video I showed you was the KDKA video, and that was done in 1920. So what's going to happen is that we're going to have a whole phenomena hit in the 20s called flagpole sitting, and that is going to supposedly be done just for fun and just for craziness and everything like that. However, I would like to suggest that flagpole sitting is actually tied in with the development of radio and radio frequencies. So I'll save another video for that. In this video, I just wanted to show you that in the 20s, and again, here's a timeline over here that shows you different times and what's happening in those particular times, that radio is coming about in the early 1900s, okay? And then the first radio transmission is going to occur in an airplane in 1910. Radio stations not needed by the government are closed as World War II begins in 1917. And 1922, the first on-air advertisement carried by New York. In 1926, the first permanent national network. Okay, and then we jump over here to 1927. The FCC is established. Okay, and then in 1933, FDR is going to use radio for his fireside chats. Now don't forget, I brought in two things not listed in this timeline. Over here, in 1920 is KDKA, the first commercial station, and in 1924, it's on around in here, would be the station out in LA that was KFSG atop the Angeles Temple in Los Angeles. The station now, I believe, is actually KTLK out in Los Angeles. So radio is coming about in the 1920s, and around 1924, a strange figure appears by the name of Shipwreck Kelly, who's going to go up and sit at the top of flagpoles. All right, and then this whole phenomena of flagpole sitting is going to develop in the 20s, and then supposedly it's going to come to a close with the start of what folks have labeled as the Great Depression in 1929. So I'm going to do another video and actually get a little more specific about flagpole sitting and how that was not really about producing a fad, but it was about something else. So thank you for watching